tuning in after the live. I greatly appreciate everybody tuning in. If you're tuning in now, please, please, please make sure to hit that like button, as it does greatly help push my content. As you can see in the title tonight, we're going to talk a lot about XRP's price action, because we're coming to a critical point in the actual price within the chart, but there's a lot more than meets the eye right now outside of cryptocurrency that is going to play a major role coming here forward. And it's kind of been I have not seen very much coverage on it, and it's making me a little uneasy now. So I figured during this live, we'll see who's interested in it, but we have to bounce around between XRP as well. But we've got to talk about the BRICS nations and the fact that right now, the more than speculation is that one of the BRICS, whatever they're using in currency, is going to equate to 55 US dollars. And if you understand what that means, there's 67 countries right now that are agreeing to this. 67 countries. So if you understand Russia, China, we'll go over a list, and we'll go over the significance of this. But if there's any truth to this at all, which we already know there is, and there's indications that there's going to be accelerated meetings here coming up in the near future, so we're going to talk about that as well. But we do have the BRICS Summit on the 22nd, and the speculation is they're going to announce the back standard, or the new gold back system for Petro, however they're planning on doing it. But a lot of stuff going on here, so we'll get into the intro. I'll get into saying hi to who's ever here. But this is something I think everybody, especially if you live in the USA, you're really going to have to pay attention to, because starting November 1st, our way of life is changing. Whether we want to admit it or not, we're not going to have much choice in the matter. And I'm going to explain a little bit of a detailed view of why. I'm going to put out another perspective on this after the live that won't tie into crypto at all. It's going to tie into how the US dollar is basically being devalued on the spot. So, good evening. 7:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Monday, August 14th, 2023. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So real quickly here, I'm going to say hi to the ones who got in early. Even if it behooves some of you, I like to say hi to everybody, and that's the way I do things. I like to take the positive approach and the more understanding and the more connective approach. So JW, welcome in. I greatly appreciate you. ATK, JW, if you got to leave too because it's getting late, I completely understand that. Humza, welcome in. Big problems, Humza. Hopefully I was able to clear it up just a tad bit in the opening. If you're in the USA, think about the connection there. We'll get into it, but what does that mean if you try to buy XRP and the US dollar is actually devalued to that level? Do we have a Venezuela-style incident coming to the USA at some point where our dollar's devalued so much that it's going to make it impossible to make the everyday purchase? Even if you see hundreds or thousands of % gains, what if the dollar's just been devalued by so much? But I mean, in the here and now, XRP is on the front of everybody. I know that. Donald, welcome in. I appreciate that, Donald. I really appreciate that. Love your YouTube channel. Fantastic analysis. Excellent. I appreciate that. John Hall, welcome in, brother. ATK, we've hit that 626 8 times in 36 hours. It's been bouncing around a lot, hasn't it? We created this new uptrending resistance right now that we're trying to use as a support. Only 7 likes. We're up to 31 and 59 people. Already 59 people in here. It's only been 4 minutes. Wow, thank you so much, everybody. Make sure you hit that like button, as it can help push me through the analytics and force them to share my content. And hit that subscribe button if you enjoy what I do. We got a lot of stuff to talk about here. Dean, welcome in. Mark Harris, I love edit. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Matt, Tanya, welcome in, love. Mr. Anderson's in the house. Olga, welcome in, love. Ahmad in the house. Man, a lot of people showing up tonight. I'm so glad to see you in here as well. Tower, welcome in. Garrett, Mohammed, Mr. Extra Sour Cream Taco Supreme in the house. RPS, Stephen Sherry from South Carolina. Thank you so much for tuning in, both of you. I appreciate you both so much. Terry, good evening. Jorge, welcome into the XRP Army indeed. X-Wing, love the truest tech. Yep. That's the truest tech. Tanya Murphy, I was blind. Good to see JW in here still conversing. Peter, welcome in. I appreciate that. Sean Full and Uphold just blocked my account. Reasons I never leave any of my assets on the exchange. Interesting. KK Ong. Hi, Tom. Greetings from Malaysia. Welcome in from Malaysia. So, thank you, Rob, so much. So, I appreciate that. So, with XRP, just in the here and now, real quick, XRP still trying to break back above this uptrending resistance. In the immediate short term, we just did. So, we're going to see. Yeah, I did see Michael Berry put a huge short on the market. That's definitely something to speculate about as well. XRP started this uptrend down here at the swing low at about 597. We came up to another test of support here after falling outside what looked like a bear flag. Hit the uptrending support again. Had a fake out yesterday, as we talked about. Oftentimes you start with a fake out. We're unable to hold it here on support. Came back through, got rejected here at about the 63 cent level. Got rejected again here at about 632. Now we're trying to push up again. In order for XRP to avoid that drop down back to about 585, because if we break down, we would unavoidably have to come back down to what looks like a broadening wedge formation. Now, conversely, we can avoid that drop. We can avoid that whole bearish movement here if we hold the support here right around 634, start pushing up and slowly break over the 641. We can ultimately start to push back up to what looks like the top of a channel that is starting to form here. And that would be very, very important for XRP here. So that would get us back up to around 67. It's about 68 cents. I couldn't screenshot it either, so I had my girl take a pic of my screen with her phone. Scary last time. Ties in with you stating about a potential crash. Yeah, Mark. I mean, the problem is where we're at. If this is true, you guys don't even understand what's going to happen here. If this is true with the BRICS nations, and I think it's time I catch you all up to date, because I've been avoiding it a little bit, because I don't want to make people like, especially if you live in the USA, be like, oh my God, this can't happen. It can, and it is. So, first of all, this alliance here is a nightmare for the USA. We've been playing the bully for too long, and the nations, the smaller nations, are sick of it. And now we're going to have on the 22nd with the BRICS summit, that is where it's speculated they're going to announce the new gold-backed standard into play. And when it goes into full effect, what we need to worry about in the USA is November 1st. Don't forget the date of November 1st. That's when it's theorized that all at once, all of these nations could all of a sudden stop using the U.S. bonds, and they could stop with the owning of, well, basically all of our notes as a whole, and that could single-handedly bring down the system. If you wonder why we're trying to go to a digital-backed system with a whole new liquidity pool, it's because when this is announced, if this actually goes through with the way it's planned, $1 US in comparison to the BRICS, it would take $55 US for whatever they deem their token, currency, however they're going to label it. But for, let's just say, one BRICS token, it's going to cost $55 US. Now, what doesn't meet the eye here is that China is a big part in this alliance. What have we single-handedly been doing for decades? We've been giving away our facilities, our manufacturing, and we became we're an exporter, basically. Well, we import, but we don't export anything out of the country anymore. We import mainly from China. Well, if it costs $50 US or $55 US to buy $1 worth of that currency, and the Chinese are part of that, there's 67 countries that are rumored to be part of this. That means if you go online to buy, let's just say people like Nikes, or if you go online to buy anything you like, let's say you found an XRP token from China, and you're like, this is pretty cool, it's a piece of memorabilia, it's $10. Well, under the new ratio, that's not going to cost you $10 anymore. It's not going to cost you $100. It's not going to cost you $250. It's going to cost you approximately $550. So if that's the case, what are we supposed to do with that? if that's really going to happen, what do you make of that? I would love to know from the audience. And I know this probably won't be a popular discussion, but I really want to know what everybody thinks as it starts raining on me right when I start my live. Can you believe that? Well, I'm going to have to transition this probably inside because it's raining. Or I'm going to have to go under my umbrella and sit over there. Maybe I'll just do that. I don't know. We're going to find out in a minute. Maybe I'll move back here and see if we can withstand the rain. Because, well, maybe not. We're not going to be able to sit here. This sucks. Yeah, at least for now we can. So, we are dealing with the rain. So, actually, you know what? I might move underneath my, I do have a table here that's covered by an umbrella. We're probably going to have to do that and see if this rain passes. And if it goes a little, well, it's definitely not going to pass. It's starting to come down a lot harder now. Hold on. I apologize, everybody, but, you know, when you're in real time and you're trying to do this outside, sometimes this happens. We'll just sit down here at the old table. This should at least give us a little bit of, whoops. Should at least, I hope so. We're about to find out. So yeah, it's raining behind me, but I got this little umbrella above me, so we'll see if this keeps us dry, because I'd like to stay outside. Yes, it is, Tom. It is raining in Michigan, as you know. Oh crap, I forgot my phone over there. Hold on. I had set it down. Do a wet t-shirt. You know, I may not have a choice here, Tanya. I may not have a choice here. But anyhow, I find it hard to believe that the administration would allow something catastrophic to happen to the economy when we're heading into a presidential election. Yes, the current administration, but you got to remember, we've sold ourselves out, ladies and gentlemen. We've legitimately sold ourselves out. Welcome in, Miss Vicky. I appreciate you so much. Shane, silver and gold don't go up or down. Their value is stable. It's the fiat gaining or losing purchasing power in relation to gold. Yes, that's absolutely correct. That's why I always tell everybody you must have a stockpile of gold and silver, especially in this new time. It's that simple. So, if we want to talk about the expansion real quick, where should we start here? So, there's something that caught my attention that, because they're trying to speed this up, and it actually caught me, it caught me by surprise. BRICS nations to discuss. My screen's all wide. I apologize for this going slow. Okay, we're going to go into here real quick, just so everybody can get on the same page. So, BRICS expansion on the horizon. Global economy braces for potential dollar decline. And as we know today, a bit of breaking news that happened today. We actually had, for the first time, does anybody know what happened today with the U.S. dollar not being used for petrol? Yeah, you can literally do this. It actually happened today. Now maybe I'll have to do it in a better search, but it definitely happened today. We're going to go over a lot of stuff today. I'm sorry, I'm just looking through the comments because it fascinates me. There's a lot of comments, though. I appreciate you guys sticking with me here, because I definitely got shifted up here a little bit, getting all wet just now. India, Petro. Oh, yeah. Now I remember. India, I remember now. Sorry. I remember. India. This is a big news story today. Big news. Big news. Well, anybody who stays around will get all the information. So I appreciate that, Miss Vicky. You know, we're going to start flowing here in just a second. It's just my mind is going in 72 different directions. And this all, to me, this tells me that all of this is true. So breaking India sidesteps dollar first rupee oil trade ahead of BRICS summit. According to recent reports, on August 14th, India and the UAE have turned a new leaf in their trading ties. Just before the much-anticipated BRICS summit, India, a key player in the alliance, finalized its first crude oil transaction with the UAE, sidelining the US dollar and using rupees. Moreover, this transaction isn't an isolated one, but the manifestation of a broader strategy. In July, the two nations penned an agreement permitting trade settlements in their native currencies. Consequently, this change eliminates the added layer of dollar conversion, thereby slashing transactions costs. So that's something to pay attention to. That broke today. And now when we get into the BRICS nations, actually, you know what? I want you to learn this real quick. So BRICS in Africa towards a new relationship. So if this is the part where it's going to constrain us. Africa is the one who can fund all of this. So by this happening and by this all going together, it's going to be a very big problem. So this just all ties in together. Now we're up to like, 67 countries that are on board right now. So BRICS in Africa towards a new relationship analysis. Undoubtedly the forthcoming 15th BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa summit, August 22nd to 24th in Johannesburg, South Africa, opens the door for critical multiple issues mostly related to the irreversible processes of emerging new world. While it seriously presents an opportunity to take meticulous stock of its wins and losses, strengths and weaknesses, the summit has the imperative to examine the new paradigms, evaluate innovative directions, and assess strategies for moving the organizations farther in the reconfiguring world. So that's why I believe they're starting to have disclosure with all the alien stuff and all that. What better way to have unity with the one world, if we have to have one world currency, one world government style thinking? What better way than to have a attack from outerly worlds when all governments have to form together and we're unified by one currency? What other way than us against them would unify the entire world? It would be an objective, and it's straight out of the playing book of Project Bluebeam. So just pay attention to all of this. It's very interesting that all of this is happening at the exact same time. The BRIC concept was created by the Goldman Sachs economist Jim O'Neill, and the S was added after South Africa joined the group in 2010. But the first meeting of the group began in St. Petersburg in 2005. It was simply referred to as RIC, which stood for Russia, India, and China. Then Brazil and subsequently South Africa joined later, which is why now it is popularly called BRICS. Don't forget Trump's good buddy with every one of these people. He's the one that helped put this all together. Buy fiat, hello XRP. It's a little more than buy fiat, hello XRP. Remember, if you live in the USA, if your dollar is devalued by that much and you don't already own, this is the big emergency tonight. If you want to know the truth, how are you going to buy your favorite crypto if it's devalued by that much? How are you going to buy it? If you don't own it before this goes into effect, possibly by November 1st is the deadline that we've been reading. What receives very apparent here, that this is when we're going to have a mirage. They don't just put dates out there for no reason. How are you going to buy stuff? How are you going to buy gold and silver? We could legitimately have a Venezuela-style circumstance happening, not just in the USA, but anybody who still backs us with the US dollar. Any country that still backs us by the US dollars and is not part of the BRICS nations, do you know why so many are backing out of the G7 or the summit, the G7 summit? Because of this. So what happens? How are we going to afford to buy it if you don't already own it? I mean, you can. It's up to you. I mean, if you're in the States, I just never share it. But if you're in the States, you can do Cash App if you prefer to do that. Some people, I mean, nobody sent me anything on Cash App in a very long time because I never talk about it. But from time to time, somebody will bring it up. So you can send it on Cash App. It's just, if you have it, you know, that's the thing. Not everybody has it. So Oh, that sucks. Yeah, that sucks. I mean, if you're looking to donate and you're looking for like Cash App or something, that's my Cash App, but I have not promoted that, and I don't even know if at all in 2023. So I mean, if you want to donate like that, you obviously can. I have a PayPal that I never share because I don't use it anymore. But Cash App is the best one. No, I use Cash App for my precious metals. I use Cash App to buy my precious metals, or not my commodities. So let's continue. Dublin hosted African leaders, heads of the G20. That's what I meant, the G20. I don't know why I said the G7. Representative of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation and Caribbean Community. Since then, BRICS 5 and African states have greatly strengthened and expanded their cooperation in the economy, politics, and the humanitarian sphere. BRICS considered Africa is one of the world's most rapidly developing regions. During the summit in South Africa, Russian President Vladimir Putin attended a meeting of BRICS leaders with delegation heads from inviting African states and chairs of international associations. Those invited included the leaders from Africa, namely Angola, Botswana, Ethiopia, Gabon, Lesotho, Madagascar, Mauritius, I don't even know how to say some of these, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, Rwanda, Senegal, the Seychelles, Tanzania, Togo, Uganda, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. I would like to remind and further emphasize that BRICS and the African states have similar development goals in many respects. In 2015, the BRICS Summit in Russia adopted the large-scale BRICS strategy for economic partnerships. In fact, during the gathering, Putin's position was about involving African partners in the areas identified then: the economy, finance, and food security. The Bretton Woods Agreement and system created a collective international currency exchange regime that lasted from the mid-1940s to the early 1970s. Excellent information, Mark. Excellent. The Bretton Woods system recorded a currency pegged to the U.S. dollar, which was in turn pegged to the price of gold. Excellent. Wow, thank you so much, ATK. Two $10 donations. That's incredibly generous of you. Thank you so much for supporting me. I greatly appreciate you doing that. Thank you so much. I do know you never quit, ATK. That is true. I just saw a report where you can buy things Saudi Arabia with XRP. It's going to be more and more. It's going to be more and more. That's why I keep saying, if you don't own it, we're coming into a spot where there's a chance that even if we came down to these exponentially low prices to buy it with the US dollar, it's not going to be as cheap as it may seem on paper. That's the problem here, ladies and gentlemen. So real quick, the expanding BRICS membership, because then I want to go back into the XRP chart too. With the forthcoming August 2023 summit, and that's the 22nd to the 24th, heated discussions and debates have been on the organization's expansion, adoptions of alternative currency, and various proposals to redesign its architecture with new comprehensive objectives and tasks within the context of the current geopolitical changes. This growing enthusiasm and interest for the BRICS has various underlying motivations, which have to be accommodated within the broader framework. There is the strong common motive for forming an alliance in a multipolar world. It will depeg. I believe it will too, Mark. Tanya, one day I wish I could make it over there and learn my true heritage. It says, one day I believe we'll all be able to. Sean, usually when the dollar goes down, crypto goes up. So, Mark, you're missing a strong correlation. Just because it's going up, what if the US dollar's pegged at, like, I don't know, what if it's down to 60 and XRP's at $2 or $3? But what if the US dollar, it costs a lot more to buy than it might look like it's on a piece of paper? That's the big issue here. Just like if you buy gold, if the dollar gets devalued like that, the gold that might cost you $1,900 and the silver that costs you $2,250, you might have to add a zero. That's the problem. It doesn't matter. Like, look at Venezuela. Their stock prices, they have stuff that was $10. It's worth $10,000 a share now. It doesn't matter because the Venezuelan dollar, or their native currency, you have to bring it in wheelbarrows to buy a thing of bread. But if you have 1 ounce of gold, a silver coin, 1 ounce of gold down there, you can essentially do what you need to do. So, it's a big problem here. No, the U.S. can't join the BRICS because the BRICS was formed to fight against the U.S. greenback. So it's impossible. We have no, we're on our own here. This is when the bully is going to get beaten down by all of the ones that's bullied. Tom, it won't let me do more than $10 at a time. So stupid, I have dollars in my bank. Let me spend. Yeah, that's a big issue. You're going to see more and more of that, not being able to spend your money the way you want to, especially when we go digital. So, as several media reports show in my own monitoring and research assessment, a large number of Asian, African, and Latin American states are interested in forging a full-fledged structural membership and possible cooperation with the BRICS. More than 20 states have formally applied to join BRICS. The authentic criteria and mechanism for the expansion of the organization is being developed. JWN, Darren White, not when the U.S. dollar gets back. Amen, Darren. When it gets backed by gold. But I don't believe it's going to be the U.S. dollar. I think it's going to be a little bit different here going forward. When they all go to jail, Crawbillies, is Texas joining BRICS? I don't know. I mean, I guess that's a conspiracy we could go down a little bit deeper, possibly. I mean, you could have states that are seceding from the Union, possibly. You never know. I'm a proud American citizen, but we have been a bully for too long, and we need to be taken down a notch on the world stage. Yes, but us as the citizens haven't been the bully. You need to realize that. We're not the bully. Us U.S. citizens are being bullied. The U.S., we all just think we're doing the bullying. We might push our muscle around, but the alliance formed by the BRICS and them single-handedly, what have they done over the last 3 or 4 decades? They took away all of our manufacturing and put it overseas. They took us from being the biggest exporter, and made us an importer nation. We literally export nothing. So now when it comes down to it, when they single-handedly basically break our necks, for the lack of a better term, when we go to buy stuff, when we're used to going and buying Chinese stuff, or from China, or from other third world countries, as we like to label it, where our money's worth more, not in China being third world, but we go through a lot of third world nations. All of these nations that we buy from and import from are joining this. They're part of this alliance. So if you think it's going to cost you $10 for a phone charger, now it's going to cost you $500 under the new standard. That's the problem. That's the problem. For $1,000 per XRP, I might give them 20 to 30% of my XRP. Yes, the little people are going to be we're going to be imploded. That's why it's part of the plan. That's why I've been trying to build towards a universal portfolio where we are the central bank. I don't use that term lightly. If we're not the central bank, we are done. And if you're a central bank, you have to have precious metals and crypto alike. You can't just have crypto, or you have to have a way of moving money across borders. Back from the gym, stuck in traffic, whatever. You missed a lot, Russell. You are going to have to start from the beginning. Tom, anybody else, go to the bank and be told, can't take deposits or withdrawals, must be the ATM. Yes, that's been going on a lot more across the states here as well. That's why I barely keep any money in the bank. One time I went there last year, I'm buying my house, remember, and I was trying to take out a larger amount for a down payment, and they kept telling me you have to come back, or we have to do it. And we were talking about like $10,000. They're talking about I have to fill out a thing, and I'm like, all right, well, forget this. And that was the last time I had even that much money in the bank. So, but yeah, they're going to eventually stop buying our notes and everything like that, and then it's over. And if they all do it collectively, it's done. According to reports, BRICS is steadily, or rather rapidly, becoming an alternative organization for the global south against the backdrop of the accusations of the United States and Europe, together with their allies' political dominance, hegemony, and unipolar or unitary approach towards global problems, and especially those adversely affecting the developing or the least developed nations. The emphasis is on geopolitical and development cooperation with non-Western states. Appears to be sliding. BRICS now attracting friends. Those lined up states and consolidating their growing desire to join BRICS. Johannesburg Summit therefore has the primary task now, developing along 2 aspects by admitting new members and by strengthening cooperation of BRICS with potential new members, the possibility of expanding membership for purposes of determining the principles standards, criteria, and procedures of this process, and the organization is still under discussion with the BRICS framework. And the reason I'm bringing this up now is the 22nd to the 24th is the BRICS summit, and it's being speculated that that is when they're going to announce a new gold-backed system. And right now, like today, we've already seen it in India. They went around purchasing petrol with the US dollar today. It happened. That's a fact. I'd like to see the info of Texas applying to BRICS, though. I don't think that's going to happen. See, as long as you have a U.S. politician, no matter how much they're hiding behind the fact that they're a politician and they're supporting the USA, every single person, whether you like, even Ted Cruz, even if you like him or not, they've been bought and paid for by China. If they weren't, they wouldn't be on center stage and making the decisions for you. They're all bought and paid for. Republican, Democrat means dick. Central banks rule the world. That's the problem in the USA. We literally have no idea in the states who rule the world. Whether you're blue or red, it has zero bearing. I don't even live my life knowing Republican or Democrat. I don't even use those terms. That's why I don't talk about it on my station. I don't talk about politics, period. Because our problem as a universal society, not just in the States, we all think it's a two-party system, or we all think it's the kings and the queens. The central banks are running the show, period. On the other side, BRICS researchers and analysts argue and believe that additional states will not be admitted to BRICS, but each organization's partner has the chance and will be able to choose a convenient mode of cooperation within the BRICS new structure. The arguments hold the fact regarding retitling BRICS, therefore it is highly likely to be the case, but this requires a consensus, all the members of the BRICS. More countries have been interested in joining the group. Listen to all these countries, ladies and gentlemen. Afghanistan, Algeria, Argentina, Bahrain, Bangladesh, Belarus, Egypt, Indonesia, Iran, Kazakhstan, Mexico, Nicaragua, Nigeria, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Senegal, Sudan, Syria, United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Tunisia, Turkey, Uruguay, Venezuela, Zimbabwe. This growing interest for the BRICS project has various underlying motivations which have to be accommodated within the broader framework. We're not even talking about China, Russia, some of the ones who are already formally part of this. China is the big one. Russia's a big one for us. These are big alliances that are forming. I don't know how many people are watching, but I appreciate everybody who's trying to learn this because it's huge. In advancing the discussion here, interesting to remind, and make sure you hit that like button as it greatly pushes my content through the YouTube algorithm. Hit that subscribe button if you appreciate what I do, and we'll get back to the XRP chart after this. But this is important. We must know what's going on here. Let's see. The 14th BRICS Summit successfully held in June 2022. President Xi Jinping emphasized at the meeting that BRICS countries gather not in a closed club or an exclusive circle, but a big family of mutual support and a partnership for win-win cooperation. At the same summit, BRICS leaders reached important common understanding about BRICS expansion and expressed support for discussion on the standards and procedures of the expansion. And now this is the last thing I wanted to read with this. We all know, we can get into the summit more after, but this is a big part of this that's starting to is becoming unilaterally, I would imagine, being more accepted here, that this is actually playing true. So Africa's alliance with the BRICS, and this is all the funding they'll ever need. Africa funds the whole show. And not to mention, if you try to get anywhere near Africa, just on the down low here, we won't get into it much, they've got military installments in 40 different countries surrounding them. So good luck if you're trying to get in there and stop this if we do go full belly up and this actually happens. South Africa, the first African state joined the group on the initiative of China and Russia. Its membership has reflected and altered the organization's name, now known as BRICS. It has since then played significant roles hosting summits, influencing the organization's activities, and creating memberships historic milestones in this 21st century world. South Africa can warmly be credited first for its membership presence, and second for laying the pathway for strategic expansion and to include African states. At least South Africa has brought a tectonic shift in landscape, a transformative aspect when African states participated in the BRICS Plus outreach in July 2018. I just want the XRP price to 500. I would buy a house. I would pretend the world is not happening. You're not going to be able to avoid it's not happening. True. See, that's what a lot of people are not understanding. XRP going to $500 in this scenario, is that $500 based on the devaluing of your dollar? We could certainly see it get, we don't want it for that reason. That's the underlooked thing that we always undertake. If we're getting a $500 XRP, is that simply because the US dollar is so devalued? It says $500 on the screen, but it's not worth dick when you try to buy something with it. That's why we're trying to avoid that scenario and already be in for when the unbelievable time happens, so that you can just buy something from farther away. One XRP, whether you buy it in the USA or somewhere else, will have the same relevance. It's just how much is it going to cost you to buy that one XRP? That's my biggest problem. So I keep telling everybody, the closer we get to the third quarter and the end of 2023, there's a reason I'm not selling in this cycle. We could have a massive breakdown. It doesn't change anything for me. So in practical terms, BRICS has recognized and welcomed Africans into its fold long ago. I'm grateful to the President of the Republic of South Africa for organizing this representative meeting. In 2013 in Durban, BRICS leaders held a meeting with the head of African states for the first time. We know that Africa is one of the world's most rapidly developing regions, so its representation is important for BRICS. Putin said in his introductory speech, in a waking reality, African states are still seeking greater representation and louder instrumental voices on international platforms, including the Group of 20, G20, and the United Nations. That's why the dollar, euro, pound needs to change the hands that control it back into the hands of the people. Yep, absolutely. And you just touched on three of them, Darren, that it's not just the USA that's in trouble. The dollar, the euro, and the pound, we all roll the same. We all are backed by the same, well, let's just call them for what they are, central bankers. Thank God I've been holding over a year only 15%. Can they take? Yep, exactly, Ron. Over a year, 15%, 100%. Inside of a year, 35%. BRICS, together with majority of African states, the African Union, and all the regional economic communities, ROCs, are getting involved to halt the system of unipolarity. Without doubts, Africa has a common vision and unflinching interest that BRICS plays an essential role in the global multilateral stage. This global South political movement consistently presents a fundamental, coherent challenge to the West. And then there's a lot of other things. So this is the one thing we need to touch on. The unbeaten BRICS common currency. Records indicate that BRICS are underrepresented in the global financial architecture. Europe and the United States dominate institutions like the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the World Bank. Fully aware of this shortfall, BRICS established in 2015 its own national development bank. Pay attention to this. This is what nobody ever talks about. Bank fully aware of where are we at? The idea of setting up. So national, in 2015, its own national development bank. The idea for setting up the bank was first proposed by India at the 4th BRICS Summit in 2012, held in Delhi, but was fully created 3 years later. It is a multilateral development bank established with an initial, hold on. Sometimes the comments get in my way. I love the comments, but sometimes I read to the next line on accident. So, development bank established with an initial capital of 100 billion US dollars. According to its stipulated primary functions, NDB has to cooperate with international organizations and other financial entities and provide technical assistance for projects to be supported by the bank. With the current global unstable and volatile situation creating skyrocketing uncertainties in global economic recovery, China have unreservedly shown its contribution for strengthening BRICS. Despite its large population of 1.5 billion, which may have considered as an impediment, China pursues an admirable collaborative strategic diplomacy. External countries and among the BRICS. For 16 years since its inception, China offers the largest financial support for the BRICS nations. Her National Development Bank contributed tremendously to other directions including health, education, and economic collaboration among the group. This is one reason why BRICS has gained extensive recognition. XRP/Bitcoin or XRP USD, what's better? Well, I deal in US dollars, so I don't pair it against another. I don't want to pair it against Bitcoin. I like to pair it against the US dollar. If you want to do it against Bitcoin, I mean, you have to measure that a whole different way. You can't even look at technically my chart. You'd have to look at the XRP Bitcoin breakdown. More and more countries are willing and interested to become members of the organization. As we already know, we've already went through all of this. You know, we're not going to go through all this right now. We already know about this today, so if you're just joining in, India sidestepped the US dollar, making its first rupee oil trade and a lot of stuff. It's already been 40 minutes. Wow, 110 people in here. I'll be damned. I'll be damned. I appreciate every one of you trying to take the attempt to learn what's going on. Make sure to hit that like button as we have 97 likes. We're doing a fantastic job here. But right now, in the 45-minute, as we just come right back in, let's see how long this stretches. So in the 45-minute, we've got 15 minutes. Tom, what do you think is going to happen if Saudi Arabia announces they're joining? It's over. If Saudi Arabia joins, it's over. They are the single biggest financier, or financier, as we want to call it, in the entire world. If Saudi's backing it, it's 100% a done deal in the books. November 1st, it's all over. That's all I got to say when it comes to that. So in the 45-minute, we have a long leg doji, once again signifying a lack of buying pressure, and this proves that this move, we're now unsure of ourselves. We don't have enough potential move here yet to confirm it. So after this correction candle, it's going to tell us everything we need to know in the next 45 according to this, unless it starts breaking up or down a little bit. But it's going to tell us what we need to know here. We're trying to hold the 45-minute, 200-day support. And the long leg doji just tells you we're very uncertain on the move up. Yes, we've had more volume coming in the 45. We haven't been able to flip the volume all the way so far. Michael, I appreciate your take. You make it easy to digest. God bless you. I appreciate that, Michael. I do my best to make it easy. And I apologize for the rain, but when I started, it started pouring. I'm under my umbrella that's on my table outside, which I should utilize more because I can sit down. And I didn't realize the tree had such a good view behind me just like this. I like to show the maple tree because I like nature. So right now, if XRP gets rejected, if you're just tuning in, the technical target would be a 7% drop down to the bottom of the broadening wedge. So that would get you down to around 589, 585, wherever it decides to consolidate in there. We do have a layer of support at 613, which is that broadening wedge support. And that 597, which is also the right. I'm breaking up. Am I really? Mel, am I breaking up or is it the rain? What happens when they start dropping US bonds? That's exactly what I was talking about, Darren, in the beginning. Hopefully you guys can hear me. If they start dropping the government bonds and the treasuries all at once, that's the speculation that they're going to try to do that on November 1st. That's the speculation. That's why I said we have a big problem. It's not August 22nd. It's the speculation that they're all universally going to do this to hamstrung the United States. Oh, okay, Hybrid. Thank you, Darren, for that as well. True, the rain is calming. I totally agree with that. Thank you, everybody, for verifying you can hear me. I appreciate that. So that's what we're looking at on the charts, though. So what actually formed here is this uptrending resistance that was a support that got here late. No problem, Darren. But that tried to form here. We had this uptrending support from here out of the formation of what looks like the bear flag. We hit this uptrending support again. We had the consolidation. We had a fake out in the apex zone, which is why we had a fake out. Then we came back down and we've been rejected 4 or 5 times here now. And eventually, if we keep getting rejected here, that's a very bad sign and we should come back down to the bottom of this broadening wedge. So conversely, if we could show this as a sign of strength, get back on top of 641, our resistance now in the area would be all the way back up around 676, all the way up to about 68 cents. So that's what I got, everybody. Hopefully this was informative. Let me know if there's anything else. We'll look at H-bar real quick as well. But I got to get going here because I haven't eaten dinner yet. I'm hungry. But I wanted to put this information out in a way that we could all understand. I have a very strange feeling that I might be on again tonight. for another live. I'm not sure what time. So there's always that. But H-bar, as we talked about earlier, I think now H-bar, we could break out of here without a further correction. We would have to hold the short frame 20-day, and then ultimately in the 1 or 2 hour, you might come down farther. But I think for H-bar, we're very, very inconsistent here right now. We keep showing up these long leg dojis. So we're very volatile here. What we want to see is a test of support here at 617, or we want another burst of volume here on the consolidation and burst up to here at 77. Right now, though, with a big breakup like this, it's in our best interest to come down to 617, confirm the breakout, because this is, after all, what we've been talking about for several weeks. We needed that volatile, well, maybe not several weeks, but since July 23rd, we needed this volatile move and then a consolidation to hold this finally. We're yet to have a big volatile move like that in H-bar. Now we have. As you know, the U.S. announced as part of Fed now that H-bar, look into my update earlier, there's some big news with the H-bar, and it's allowed with the basically a way of purchasing under Fed now. But take a closer look to my earlier content. But we're looking for a consolidation here and a test of support here down at around 617. That would be an ultimate sign of support for H-bar. If you appreciate what I do, if you appreciated this update, or you want to just show me some support, hit that like button, as we have 106 likes, 103 people here, so we absolutely crushed it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you enjoy my content. You can always join Tom's Army if you really want to show that extra support. Send a YouTube super chat if you're feeling the need. Other than that, it's been an excellent live. I greatly appreciate everybody. The last thing to pay attention to is the US dollar, as we talked about. The 102.60. Once we held that, there was really nothing between us and 103.666. We didn't hit it on the head, but we came mighty close. So let's see if they still got a little more to put into this, or if this is the end of the rally. But I assume with what's coming up on the 22nd, they're going to throw everything they can to make the US dollar look stronger than it can be. And then it's all going to start to reverse very quickly from there. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. I appreciate each and every one of you. Without you, I wouldn't be here. I love each and every one of you, especially the ones that stuck it out during all this information tonight. Sean, I greatly appreciate you. White Tiger Mark, Tanya, have a good night, love. Darren, Donald, JW, True, Miss Vicky, love, have a great night as well. Mel, have a good one. Hamza, Hybrid, True, everybody else who's here, I greatly, greatly appreciate you. Until next time, stay blessed. Make sure you give thanks to your Lord and Savior. Make sure you show peace to each other. And even if you're not a believer, make sure you have that positivity and unity. We're not victims. We don't play the divider. We play the great unifier, because in fact, we are the winner. And when you have that positive energy, there's nothing we can't achieve.